Thanks for staying with us. Time for major stories. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KCMC, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, will be partnering to ensure vendors adhere to vending regulations across the municipality. This is in an effort to maintain order and public safety, especially with Christmas right around the corner. With the festive season upon us, there is increased police presence in sections of Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine, as criminals often hide among persons shopping for the season. Two of the most targeted commercial areas are Halfway Tree and downtown Kingston. Assistant Commissioner of Police Devon Watkins says so far, members of the JCF have been doing a good job in nabbing pickpockets.
The police officers working downtown, including the team on Darling Street, which so far has in the record of sending 89 persons to prison for those robberies and garbage phone. And 95% of them has already started serving their sentence.
In maintaining safety and public order, Head of the Corporate Communications Unit, CCU, Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay says both the JCF and the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KCMC, will be embarking on public advisories.
If we're not allowing persons to vend in the appropriate area, it becomes another issue because we're creating cover for criminal activities. So all those are some of the messages that we can get out to allow persons to see the benefit of compliance without having to use force.
Streets such as Beckford Street, Orange Street and King Street are some of the locations downtown Kingston that will be closely monitored by the municipal police as well as members of the JCF. No vending will be allowed and all intersections should remain clear. Senior Superintendent of Police Steve McGregor stresses that these orders must be made clear to the vendors, including those at the Kingston Parish Church who were removed by the mayor a few months ago.
Some people who will show you documentation that they have been vending here and will pay KCC. So, and you can keep in mind, you know, that if you allow 3 or 4, you allow everybody. Yep. So you can't say, boy, that little lady I used to do it from Wappy Kilrere, so we have to allow her. If you did it, 4 more will come with that. So all of these things must be properly chronicled so that the police can have it, so they know how to police this.
Mayor Delroy Williams responds by saying,
I've said it to vendors, I met with them on the location. So if they are there, going there, they are just trying to see what they can get away with. Because there's no way as mayor of the city I could look at vendors and say, vend in front of a historical site.
And more concerns are being raised about the frequency of garbage collection due to health issues across the island. One community in St. Andrew says the lack of garbage skips in several areas have contributed to a rat infestation. Khadija Thomas tells us more in this report.
It is well known that flies, rats, dogs and other scavengers are attracted to garbage, especially in hot climates. That means that garbage which goes uncollected acts as a magnet to these animals and poses health risk. The Golden Spring community in St. Andrew is one such area where waste reportedly goes uncollected due to lack of skips and garbage trucks being unable to maneuver the roads to enter into the community.
These are makeshift sites where people dispose their garbage. Some of them do unapproved practices like burning, and others just bring it usually at night and dispose on the side of the road as is seen here. But certainly we can enforce the Anti-Litter Act were it the case that we had a skip or some formal disposal mechanism.
He says at one point a fridge was left here. It was only after residents protested over the issue that it was removed.
We're talking about Stock Farm Road and Faith Home Road being highly populated communities numerically. And with no proper place to dispose of the garbage, people are left to their own devices, which usually in the end turns out to be a breeding ground for the many rats we have in the community and other vermins.
On the same issue, just a few weeks ago, the executive director of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, Audley Gordon, made a call for citizens to properly containerize their waste.
Package the garbage put it together properly so it's not scattered all over the place. That's when you have the trouble with the rats, the mosquitoes, the flies, and all the things that we find offensive. So we appeal to residents to properly containerize their garbage as a health measure.
CVM Live contacted the National Solid Waste Management Authority about the issue in Golden Spring. Its director, Audrey Gordon, requested the name of the affected communities and say an investigation will be carried out. Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
The Noise Abatement Act was temporarily amended and has triggered mixed reactions from Jamaicans, especially those in the entertainment industry. The effectiveness of the newly amended act was examined on CVM Live panel discussion last evening. Here's Christine Forbes.
The entertainment industry is reacting to the temporary amendments that will allow events with permits to go up to 2 a.m. on weekdays and up to 4 a.m. on weekends during the Christmas and New Year season. Sound system selector Ricky Trooper is somewhat pleased with the extensions.
For the past years, we have fight this thing here. Nothing in I know we get a little reprieve and, and I was saying, for all the last meetings that I was going to, give us a little amnesty and we could fix this thing. I mean, well, the amnesty go and we work out all the little problems and the little hiccups. So to me, it's like a victory so far for this struggle we're fighting.
The Act will also see the implementation of a number of entertainment zones. But journalist and recording artist Milton Ray believes the entertainment zones are just not practical.
Practically it can't work, The reason being is that the whole business of entertainment, part of the allure and the experience and the adventure is the venue.
So you're saying that
areas
come to you if it's not
what I'm saying to you, hold on, what I'm saying to you is that that's one. One reason why it can't work is that so you'll have a nice venue. Take for example Ron Williams Entertainment Center. That's a purpose-built facility. But for some reason, people are not attracted to it. People are drawn to it.
Ray proposed an alternative that he says can address the loopholes surrounding the act.
You go to this area, the decibel level can be X. Another area, the decibel level can be Y. No, the sound man have him think. Every sound, amps and so on, them have them decibel thing. Right, Trooper?
Yeah, man.
Decibel meters are very cheap. The government equip the police with these decibel meters, the people who are going on these raids, right? And when them go, them carry them decibel meter. If Trooper play him thing outside of the prescribed decibel, he might violate the law.
The temporary extension goes up to January 21, 2020. Christine Forbes, CVM Live.
Moody's Ratings Agency has upgraded Jamaica's economic ratings to B2 from B3 with an outlook of stable. According to Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, the upgrade underscores the importance of the government's commitment to sustain economic reform. Robian Williams reports on this development.
Jamaica is on a growth trajectory. The global credit ratings agency Moody's states that the rating upgrade reflects the government's steady track record of improved fiscal policy management. Jamaica's debt dynamic is being seen as a vehicle for the upgrade, which resulted in the reduction of gross borrowing requirements, lengthened average maturity of the debt stock, and a reduction of debt. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark welcomes this new development.
The price and terms of credit are improved as a result of this upgrade. And the upgrade obviously speaks to the improvement in Jamaica's economic resilience and speaks to the optimism about Jamaica's future economic prospects.
Key structural reforms in the macroeconomic framework, particularly the move to inflation targeting, also contributed to the upgrade.
Jamaica enjoys hard-earned macroeconomic stability, which previously eluded us for several decades. We must protect this with everything that we have, and the upgrade from Moody's, which follows on the upgrade from Standard & Poor's a few weeks ago, underscores the importance of the government's commitment to sustain economic reform and to observing the best practices in terms of fiscal management.
Dr. Clark adds that the government will continue to accelerate growth through structural reforms to further strengthen Jamaica's credit rating on the international capital market.
The government of Jamaica is committed to maintaining a credible fiscal path long into the future for the benefit of Jamaican households and Jamaican businesses.
The change in outlook from positive to stable was based on expectations that these macroeconomic and debt dynamics improvements will be sustained. Robianne Williams for CVM Live.
The government will continue dialogue with all stakeholders to find solutions to safeguard the nation's children and assist in their overall development. That's the commitment being made by Justice Minister Delroy Chuck following reports from Jamaicans for Justice of children being thrown behind bars due to uncontrollable behavior. Here's Khadija Thomas once more.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck giving his word to address how children are being treated before local courts. Speaking recently at a National Integrity Action Justice of the Peace sensitization session, the minister stated that the issues highlighted by Jamaicans for Justice were issues that the government contemplated and which were also addressed by the Office of the Children's Advocate.
I want the correctional order to be removed. But at the same time, I must tell Jamaicans for Justice that brought it to my attention and the public that indeed the Child Diversion Act has actually modified Section 24. So when you look at Section 34 of the Child Diversion Act, it has modified that section to allow for more options for the judge to give supervisory orders.
Now, under Section 24 of the Child Care and Protection Act, a parent or guardian may bring a child before the court because the child may be deemed beyond control. Where the evidence before the court discloses that the child is indeed beyond control, the court may make certain orders to address the issues with the child. However, the minister says oftentimes the judges are uncertain of how to handle cases with these children.
The probation officer can't keep them at their home. The mothers don't want them because they can't control them. And sometimes the children say, I don't want to go home either. So the state is left to find a solution. What do you do with unruly children who have committed no crime and should not be sent to correctional institutions?
Chuck believes that greater attention must be given to parenting seminars to assist parents who struggle with controlling their children.
With the supervision under the Child Diversion Act, we will be ensuring that once the child shows delinquent behavior, that they get psychological counseling, they get support, they get mentoring, and with your assistance, if you will put and make yourself available, some love, care, and attention.
Khadija Thomas, CVM Live.
Thanks, Khadija. In a bid to end mental health stigma, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says the Minister of Health, a collaborative approach is needed to help deal with the challenges of mental health in the country. Here's Christine Forbes.
4 in every 10 Jamaicans at some point in their lives will suffer from some form of mental illness. The minister says the western parishes of St. James, Westmoreland, Trelawney and Hanover have seen the most reported cases of mental illnesses in 2018. Tufton says the stigma attached to mental illness threatens the efforts of the healthcare system.
They don't go at all because for a number of reasons, maybe access, maybe fear, maybe shame, but ultimately stigma represents one of the biggest concerns, where persons don't want to be identified with or identified as someone suffering from a mental illness.
While alluding to the statistics on the treatment of mental illnesses in Western Jamaica, he says the healthcare system is doing its best to accommodate patients.
Because oftentimes we ignore the extent of the efforts of mental health practitioners in the field to try and address the issue once those issues occur. So I think it's important to keep the statistics to say something is being done, even though we think the problem is a big problem that requires additional attention, which is why we are refocusing or recalibrating the approach.
The minister, however, says to tackle mental illness and create any real change, the approach must involve the community.
The new approach is focused on deinstitutionalization and more community support. So tackling mental illness in the communities as opposed to locking up people in institutions. We think that is a better approach to rehabilitation. It's a better approach to community engagement as being part of the process. And indeed, globally, that's the standard that has worked best.
Christine Forbes, CVM Live.
We're taking a break here on CVM Live. Next, we have news from overseas.